The word historic wouldn't be more suitable for describing the North Korea-U.S. summit held on June 12th. For North Korea, the U.S. has literally been an archenemy, and for the U.S., North Korea has been one of the worst rogue states that starves its people while developing weapons of mass destruction. For the past year, the two countries have been exchanging harsh rhetoric against each other. But through a dramatic turn of events this spring, the two leaders finally met and shook hands. Both heads of state looked a little stiff and nervous in the photo op for the first handshake, which is arguably a tactic to gain the upper hand in the summit. But soon they seemed to feel comfortable around each other. However, there are two clashing views on the result of the summit. The joint statement's lack of specifying the complete, verifiable, irreversible dismantlement, or CVID, is received as a setback for some pundits. Others argue that the agreement was a comprehensive one and North Korea sufficiently expressed its determination towards denuclearization. One American newspaper said South Koreans were caught off guard by President Trump's comment about halting joint military exercises. The summit was an event of global interest, but it will be ordinary day-to-day Koreans living on the Korean peninsula who will feel the changes of the summit the most. Almost 7 decades of confrontation has influenced Koreans' way of living, and the long and arduous process of peace and reconciliation that will occur will also change Koreans' life, hopefully for the better. At first, the body language between the two leaders was tense, but after a while, both leaders began to relax and felt at ease around each other. So first we mentioned body language. Body language is how you move your body, how you stand. If you have your hands in front of you, that means you're possibly hiding something. Your hands behind you, that means you're very open. So whenever we talk about the way someone's body is moving or standing, we use the word body language. And we said the body language between the two were tense. Tense means very stressed, very tight, not relaxed. And after a while, they began to relax and felt at ease around each other. So to feel at ease is to feel comfortable around someone or to feel relaxed around someone. President Trump's and Kim Jong-un's handshake was an intense moment. After a while, the tension subsided and they acted more natural. So to subside means to become less tense, more relaxed, or less aggressive, to subside. The bilateral summit is a pivotal moment for the Korean Peninsula. So I said the bilateral summit. Bilateral means there are two parties involved, or two groups. For example, if the United States and Canada had a summit, that would be bilateral. But if the U.S., Canada, and Mexico had a summit, it would be trilateral. So we say bilateral in between two countries. And we said it was a pivotal moment. A pivotal moment is when it's a moment kind of in your life or in history where things change dramatically. So it comes from the word to pivot, which means to change your angle or change direction. So a pivotal moment is a time when things changed dramatically. This summit will go down in history as an important step towards peace for both South and North Korea. So I said the summit will go down in history. So if something goes down in history, that means it is a very historic event, and it will be remembered in a certain way. So this summit will go down in history because it was very important and very influential for the area. A lack of commitment to denuclearize and the possible reduction of military exercises and forces show that North Korea came out ahead in the negotiations. So I said the lack of commitment to denuclearize. The lack of commitment means there were no promises. No promises were made. And then I said North Korea came out ahead in the negotiations. So if you come out ahead, that means you've done a little bit better than your opponent or even yourself. So for example, if you're gambling in Las Vegas and you win a little bit of money, you've come out ahead. Or if you are in negotiation and you get more than the other party, you came out ahead. It means you won by a little bit. Analysis of the summit showed there was no concrete agreement about the complete, verifiable, irreversible dismantlement U.S. forces may also stand down in the Korean theater. So we've mentioned CVID, but so CVID stands for the complete, verifiable, irreversible dismantlement. So complete means everything. Verifiable means it is true. You can verify it. You can make sure that there's a guarantee. Irreversible means you cannot go back. And dismantlement means you take it apart. So that's what they're using for CVID. And also, I said there was no concrete agreement. So concrete, you may think of it as the material that you walk on the street or what buildings are made of, but we can use it as an adjective. So if it's a concrete agreement, it means it's very solid. It cannot be broken. And then I said, U.S. forces may also stand down in the Korean theater. So to stand down is to stop acting aggressively. It means to kind of withdraw or become kind of peaceful, usually used in a military sense. So to stand down means not to point your guns at each other. And I said, stand down in the Korean theater. So the traditional use of theater is a movie theater or a place you see entertainment. But in a military sense, we use theater as an area of operations. So in World War II, the United States fought in the European theater, the Pacific theater. So we'd call the Korean Peninsula the Korean theater. President Trump even hinted at the U.S. troops pulling out of the Korean Peninsula in the near future. So I said President Trump hinted at the U.S. troops pulling out. To hint is to give a clue or to give a little teaser or like a little piece of information to imply something. And then I said pulling out of the Korean Peninsula, when the military forces are somewhere and they pull out, that's when they are removed. So we use that expression when you usually remove a group of people or person, you pull them out. The next step for improved relations between the two Koreas and denuclearization will encounter many roadblocks. We need to tread lightly and not get our hopes up too high. So I said there would be many roadblocks. A roadblock, the literal meaning is something that's in the road to stop cars. But we use roadblocks as an obstacle. So if you want to do something in your life, for example, starting a business, one roadblock might be you don't have enough money, or there are certain government regulations that prevent you from starting your business. That's a roadblock. And then I said we need to tread lightly and not get our hopes up. So to tread lightly, it literally means to walk very carefully. To tread means to walk. But if you tread lightly, you walk carefully. But we use it as another way to kind of act carefully. So if you're going to talk about maybe a controversial subject, you want to tread lightly. That means you want to be sensitive, not too aggressive, and be careful. Or if you're going into a new school or a new job, you want to tread lightly. You don't want to start causing trouble, I guess, too early. And then get our hopes up too high. To get your hopes up means you really want something to happen, or you desire something and you think something's going to happen and you're sure of it. That's getting your hopes up. But if it doesn't happen, or the thing you want doesn't happen, you'll feel disappointed. So we say don't get your hopes up means don't desire something so much because you may be disappointed if you don't get it. We need to be cautiously optimistic about the future. The process of peace, increasing diplomatic relations, and future economic development will be a long and winding road. So I said we need to be cautiously optimistic. So you can hope for the best, but as I said before, don't get your hopes up. You have to be very careful with your feelings. That's being cautiously optimistic, cautiously hopeful. And then the future economic development will be a long and winding road. So if you're on literally a long and winding road means a long road with lots of curves in it or lots of bends. But we use it, if you're doing something difficult or hard, it is a long and winding road. Thanks, guys. Thanks for telling your friends and downloading. Bye-bye.